Hello and welcome to the Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. Today we'll be talking about the nuclear energy, its status in world and India, and is it being phased out in 2023 and in the future. We'll see also what is the way forward for the nuclear energy in India. Alright, so this is from where I have taken this article. Just a second. Alright, so from this article I have taken this lecture, and what we are talking about is basically nuclear power. So we should understand what is nuclear power, what is its global status. We should also see some static portion in context of India. We'll see its status in India. What are the developments and present status? Then we will see what is the challenges involved, or why is it being phased out, why there is a question of it being phased out, why in the first place it was developed, what are the current challenges involved, and then what is the way forward to them, especially in context of India. So these will be about various topics of discussion. I hope you can add on yourself, make some notes about whatever we talk in the lecture. All right. So let's see the important points from this lecture. So presently India has 22 nuclear power reactors. Let's assume this is India. So we'll be talking about the mapping here a little bit. So in Tamil Nadu, there is Kundakulam nuclear power plant. This is the latest one. And the oldest one is in Maharashtra. It is known as Tarapur. In the Gujarat, there is Kakrapar. Or KAPP3. Then there is one in Rajasthan, in Rawat Bhata or Kota. There is one in Uttar Pradesh. I am talking about the most important ones. Narora atomic power plant. Furthermore, there will be development in Haryana also. And in Tamil Nadu only there is Madras nuclear power plants. So these are the important ones. India currently has 22 nuclear power plants. There is also a controversy related to Kundakulam nuclear power plant, the safety controversy especially related to disposal. So you can read about it especially, and this is why also it becomes an important topic for our prelims and mains. The total energy which is being produced by these is around 6.8 gigawatts, which is only 2% of India's total energy capacity. This is also why nuclear energy holds 5th place in India's choices for the energy production materials or methods. One more thing that you should note down is all the activities towards nuclear energy production are governed by the Atomic Energy Act of 1962. I hope you have noted this all down. Now, what is the regulatory board? It is AERB, for the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. So it regulates nuclear and radiation facilities and all the activities. I have already told you that the latest one is Kundakulam in Tamil Nadu, and the oldest one is Tarapur in Maharashtra. So these were the important topics, important points about the nuclear energy. Now let us see that what is the nuclear energy and what's happening around this in the world. So when we are talking about the nuclear energy, we are essentially dealing with the nucleus of an atom. So in the nucleus of an atom, there are two things. One is proton and one is neutron. So when these are broken or their bonding is broken, some energy is released as heat. This heat energy is used to boil the water and produce steam to move the engines or the turbines or whatever. And this is essentially the nuclear energy. What is the process that takes place? That in the uranium-235 isotope, when a neutron is struck, then it breaks into barium-144 and krypton-89. So this is the reaction that takes place. These are known as the nuclear waste. These are still radioactive, but they are known as waste materials because the energy is already released by here. Alright, so this is the nuclear energy. Let us now see what's happening in the world around this. So this is basically a phasic process. Initially, the energy that is developed in the nations is based on the fossil fuel, such as coal or petroleum. Then they move towards the nuclear energy and eventually find ways to go in the renewable sector. So there are some countries which are largely depending on the coal and petrol. Let's say they are in the first stage. There are some countries which have developed some portion of the nuclear energies and are further developing these nuclear energy sectors, while still being dependent on the coal and the petrol also. And there are some countries which are eventually moving towards the renewable sector. Let's call it the third stage. So let's see which countries are these. India is in second stage, where it's largely dependent on the coal and petrol, but is also developing the nuclear energy. So why are countries doing it? Why are countries moving from nuclear to renewable? Because of two things. One is cost, efficiency, and third thing is, let's say, climate change. This is the main factor. So we'll talk about this all later. Let's first see the global countries that are moving towards the renewable. So one of these countries are Germany. Another is France. So Germany has closed all its nuclear reactors, 100% they have gotten rid. France is also closing its nuclear reactors, 50 to 60% it has closed and moving forward. Okay, so let's see which countries are, let's say, not moving towards it, but are in fact developing the nuclear energy. Now, one of them is India. Just a second. All right. So one of them is India, presently at 2% and increasing. Another is South Korea. So South Korea is trying to go 30% in nuclear energy by 2030. Another country is Japan. So Japan, despite of the Fukushima disaster that we will see in the safety section, it's still trying to increase its nuclear reactor. It currently has 10 nuclear reactors and 17 are in pipeline. Another country is UK. UK is also scaling up its nuclear power. One more country you can see is China. So China is also scaling its nuclear power capacity generation. So you can make a table like this in the notes. All right. Let's see what is the status of the nuclear energy in India. So as I've already told you that only 2% of the India's energy is accountable to the nuclear energy. Total around 6.8 gigawatts or 6.780 megawatts from the 22 reactors it has in 7 states. It's scaling up. It's not phasing out. Please remember. All right. So what are the policies and plans for the India? One thing is in January 2021, it established the Kakrapar Atomic Power Plant. It is in Gujarat. So what's special about it? It's India's first 700 megawatt electric unit and biggest indigenously developed variant of the PHWR. What is PHWR? It is pressurized heavy water reactor. What is heavy water? It is deuterium based. That means D2O based. There are also light water reactors. This is heavy water reactor. India mostly has heavy water reactor. Out of 22, 18 are PHWR. Only 4 are LWR. That is light water reactors. So this is one thing. How is India scaling up more? So NPCIL plus NTPC. So they are doing joint products. What is NPCIL? It is Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, and NTPC is National Thermal Power Corporation Limited. So one more nuclear power plant is coming in Gorakhpur town in Haryana. There are some plans from shifting to uranium to thorium also. We saw that we are using U-235. There are plans to shift to thorium also in the future, which is India has ample resources of this, first of all, and it is called the fuel of the future. So let's see about this later. So experimental thorium plant, one is Kamini. It is already working in Kalapakkam. And one more is Bhavani. So this one is upcoming. So these both will be thorium plants. Please remember their name. All right. So let's see what are the benefits of using the nuclear energy. Let's see on the next page. So there are various benefits of using the nuclear power plants or nuclear energy. We'll see the cons also, but let's first see the benefits. So one thing is it is cheaper to operate overall. Second thing is it is, let's say, it only uses 20 to 25% economic cost than a gas plant and almost 50% cost of a coal plant. This is some data. Second thing is that India has quite a lot of thorium reserves. Now India is currently not using thorium, but if it uses in the future, then we can develop such plants which will be beneficial for India economically, such as Bhavani and Kamini we read about. All right. So one thing is that India also wants to reduce its petroleum imports. So this is strategic also. One thing, it is a firm and dispatchable power. What is firm and dispatchable power? That it is not influenced by external weather events. Nuclear power does not care about whether it is heat or cold or raining or anything of that sort. So it is a reliable and high density source of the energy that is widely available. And dispatchable means, what is dispatchable? That it can be produced as per demand. It can be turned on and off as per the demand. It does not have to be extra stored anywhere, such as in the case of hydro energy or other energies. Okay. Another thing is it is cleaner form of energy. It is not cleanest. Please remember, it is just cleaner than coal or gas. The cleanest are still the completely renewable, such as solar or wind, etc. It is just cleaner. So it requires very low, let's say a 1 gigawatt plant would require only 25 ton of uranium 235 isotope while a similar capacity coal plant would require 5 million tons of coal. All right, 5 million tons of coal to produce 1 gigawatt of electricity. Another thing is uranium. This U-235 is also enriched uranium, but it is only 3 to 5% enriched uranium. So the overall input required is very low. All right. So let's see why there is a still calling for phasing out of the nuclear energy. That why do people want it to be phased out eventually? What are the bad things associated with this nuclear energy? Just a second. All right. So one thing is the sourcing of the nuclear fuel. So as India is currently using the uranium only, and we do not have reserves of the uranium, we only have reserves of the thorium. So thorium we will be using in future. Right now we are talking about the present. Another thing is safety issue. So you all saw what happened in the Fukushima disaster. There are similar concerns about the Kundakulam as well. In the Tamil Nadu, you can read about this. One more thing is nuclear waste. So as I told you that barium and krypton are produced. These are nuclear waste. They are radioactive also. So it's very difficult to dispose them. Oftentimes, the boiling water or the hot water is also disposed in the ocean or seas where it kills the animal life. Let's say the fishes that are inside the sea. So they are killed because of the temperature variability. They cannot survive in such hot temperatures. All right. One more thing, it is capital intensive, which means the reactors are built with huge money. They are not being used to optimally fuel India's energy resources or energy requirements, and they depreciate very fast. And then they have to be phased out eventually in the favor of the renewable energy. So there is always a component of depreciation and phasing out of them, which is financially burdensome. So let's see what is the way forward for this. So way forward for this is first of all the development of the technology. By developing the technology, we can let the private players also enter in the market, such as we are doing in the space sector. Second thing is that the monopoly of the NPCIL has to be reduced so that technology can be developed. Another thing is thorium should be used instead of the uranium, which also relies on the technology instead. One more thing is the policy change. So policy change is the harbinger of every change in the democracy such as India. One more thing we can focus is on the trends of the global use pattern, global economy, and learn from them what they are doing. Currently, however, India is only using it as 2% and only, let's say, using it as a method for development and strategic needs for Indian economy and strategy or whatever it is. So India overall does not need to worry at the overall amount of the nuclear power that India is using and building is not very significant. So phasing out, we are still far from the phasing out phase right now, and we are in the developmental phase. So India should focus on developing the technologies and moving towards thorium and using these assets before they completely depreciate. So no, India is not phasing out nuclear energy. It is instead developing the nuclear energy and seeking out various research and development technologies. So what's the conclusion here? That India should involve a balanced approach that addresses the challenges and opportunities of this sector and enables the growth of portfolio of low carbon, firm and reliable energy resources, which are nuclear plus renewable. So these are the things. So this was today's lecture. This is Yatharth here signing off. I hope you learned a lot from this lecture. Please make your own notes. Thank you very much. Keep studying and be bright. And have a good day.